Hello there, and thank you for taking the time to listen to this very brief presentation about how I redesigned my Key Stage 3 history curriculum here at Sandymore Ormiston Academy. A little bit of a very brief background. I'm fairly new in post at Sandymore, and I'm very lucky in that I get to work with an SLT who've got a clear vision for how the whole of Key Stage 3 should look. And I was also given free rein to design my curriculum as I wanted to, because I was recognised as being the kind of history expert within the school. So in terms of the curriculum, why do this now? Well, like many schools across the country, Sandymore has reverted back to a 3-year Key Stage 3. And in addition, I was also given extra time with Year 7s and Year 8s anyway. So it's really a chance to redesign the curriculum in the way that I wanted it to look like. I could respond to the national curriculum, the new framework, and then use this to design a curriculum that really shaped my vision, to show the importance of the subject, and to engender my love of history with the students at Sandymore, to show my passion for the subject. And of course I wanted a curriculum at Key Stage 3 which would prepare students for Key Stage 4 and beyond. So what was the process that we went through then with the curriculum? Well, we really kind of thought about beginning at the end. What do we want the students to know by the end of each inquiry? And once we've done that, we could then begin to sequence and map the knowledge that they needed, and to consider the skills or second order concepts that we wanted to develop within the students. And by that, of course, I mean concepts such as knowledge and understanding, cause consequence, significance, utility of sources and interpretations. And whilst they're sort of referred to as second order concepts in the department, as far as the students are concerned, these are really sold as the skills of the historian, what makes history unique and important and special. How do we include scholarship and the work of historians within the curriculum? And then how do we plan the assessments? How will we identify progression in knowledge and understanding and in those skills within the students? And this goes back to the old idea of the kind of spiral curriculum of revisiting the same skills but in greater depth and detail as we go through the whole of the 3-year Key Stage 3. The key foci then for this, of course, are meeting the sort of knowledge-rich demands of the national curriculum, but at the same time also incorporating what Christine Council calls the kind of hinterland. How can we point students in the direction of extra reading outside of the classroom, which is going to really increase their knowledge and their love of the subject? Each unit is led by a big question, and then within that, each lessons are also led through inquiry questions which support that big question. So, for example, in Year 7, we might look at the question of how did the way that England was governed change between 1066 and 1485, and then a lesson within that might be entitled, how did the Magna Carta help to reduce the power of the king? So it always links back to that big question. Obviously, in terms of planning, we incorporate the idea of the arc of history and the abstract term. So our curriculum is chronological, as you might expect. We begin with the Anglo-Saxons, and then we finish off with the end of the 20th century. And within that, we make use of key language that we expect students to be able to use and understand. We want the students to be able to read, so we're thinking about the use of reading within lessons, linking back to the work of Mary Myatt, the idea of scholarship and the work of historians, as I've already mentioned. And I wanted Black history and local history to be interleaved throughout the whole of the 3-year curriculum. So we look at immigration after the Norman Conquest, for example, looking at the role of blacks in Tudor England, looking at the development of empire after 1750 and how that's underpinned by the sort of racist ideas of the day. The slave trade, obviously, and then also looking at the idea of the role of soldiers from the Empire in the First World War, decol after the Second World War, and the Windrush generation and the Notting Hill race riots in the sort of late 20th century. So it really sort of underpins and weaves through the whole of the curriculum. The same for the local studies. So it's not just one little 6-week block somewhere shoehorned in. It's the idea of how did the Norman conquest change Sandymore? What was the role of Cheshire during the Civil War in the 17th century? How did industrialisation change the sort of Runcorn area and the growth of the canal network and the railways? What was the role of Liverpool in the Second World War? Because to me the local study is any area that the students can visit and often go to within the area that they currently live in. And it's obviously a document under constant review and reflection. Our curriculum is never finished. We're always going back to look at it again, to revisit what worked well, what didn't work well, what do we need to improve and change as we go through and develop. Some key documents that sort of underpin this: the confident curriculum, which of course is a document that basically outlines the whole planning process and vision. That's for staff to use. We have a roadmap for students to use, and we have something called history on a page, where students can look at what they're going to be looking at over the course of a particular year, and the kind of focuses, the key words, the inquiries, the skills. So if you want to have a look at any of those, then do get in contact either email or Twitter, and I'm more than willing to share those documents with you. So I hope there's been something there that you can have a think about, and like I say, please do get in touch with any ideas that you might have. Thank you very much.